Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the new moon that we're going to have on Wednesday, December 13th in a nakshatra called Jyeshta in the sign of Scorpio. But before I begin, I would also like to say I will be talking about the sidereal or astronomical placements as used in Vedic astrology. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is RoseAnna, I'm a Vedic astrologer. On this channel I talk about planetary transits and new and full moon updates, so if you're interested in that you can subscribe below. So in the Central European time zone, the moon will be closest to the sun at midnight on December 13th, and it will be in the nakshatra called Jyeshta, which is the last nakshatra of the sign of Scorpio. So this is where the transformation of Scorpio reaches its peak intensity, where we ultimately need to come to the realization that there are so many things in life that are beyond our control, and we need to reckon with the inner reality, let's say the inner truth of our being, before we can eventually again look outward and search for a higher meaning, which takes place then in the sign of Sagittarius. So there's an intensity and a fierceness to this nakshatra. And Jyeshta is also called the elder star or the chief star, and Jyeshta is in the mythological tales of the moon and his wives. Jyeshta is the elder wife or the oldest of his wives, the 27 wives, which are the 27 nakshatras. So, and Jyeshta is also the wife which was least desired by the moon, and which the moon eventually neglected. So there's also this influence here of I was about to say vengeance, but in a way, yes, there's an influence of vengeance, because Jyeshta eventually gets vengeance on the moon for neglecting her. But there's also this fierceness and the quality of, I always think of the hag when thinking about Jyeshta. So there's this older, wiser woman, this mature woman quality of Jyeshta, where we've come to face the facts of life. We've come to face our limitations, face the reality of our of the material realms, let's say, and that everything eventually perishes, and youth and beauty and all of those desires, they only last so long, and then you're left with the hag. So there's this quality of that final reckoning with Jyeshta, let's say. So Jyeshta brings this necessity, let's say, to eventually give up all of those worldly desires and to face the truth of our being. And in a way, this is also shown by the deity that is linked with this nakshatra, which is Indra, the king of the gods and the demon slayer. And again, the story of Indra is very much linked to that of falling from grace, because Indra was this the demon slayer who was revered and brought to the heights by Vishnu and the other gods. He was very much respected, but then the fame and the glory went to his head, and he eventually fell from grace, which also shows this necessity of not letting those ambitions and worldly desires rule us. It's fine to strive for things and to want to make something of ourselves. That's not what it means, but it means that we also need to remain humble and to remain centered on what really is the essence of things, what is the core meaning, the core purpose of things, so that we are motivated by something higher and not by our own individualistic desires, let's say. As Jyeshta is this elder star, it also has this quality of accomplishment and seniority. And in a way, this is also shown by its symbols. And there are two primary symbols linked with Jyeshta. The first one being that of an earring, and the second one being that of an umbrella. And both of these symbols has this old meaning of reaching status and power and being in the higher ranks of society. It was those bestowed with riches and luxury that carried those kinds of umbrellas. And so there's this quality of reaching achievement and power within this nakshatra. If you look at the planetary rulers for Jyeshta, it's Mercury. And because we're in the sign of Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, there's this influence of the combined energy of Mercury and Mars here. And so Mercury shows the quick intellect and almost cunning abilities that can be seen with Jyeshta. Jyeshta is also, as we're in the sign of Scorpio, Jyeshta is also very much linked to a strong intuition, a sharp intellect, and a sixth sense almost, you could say, when it comes to judging people, or where Jyeshta provides these qualities of being a good judge of character. And Mars influence here also brings out the almost like spiritual warrior-like quality here, where we could be, Jyeshta brings out this inner spiritual warrior that really stands up for the underdog, or that defends those in a weaker position. That's very, you might say, protective, morally protective, or which would fight for those in need. And so Mars quality can also bring out this tendency for drama and the tendency to self-assertiveness, where Jyeshta can almost have this intellectually combative energy, where we are prone to get into fights or arguments, where we're so strongly anchored in our will that we don't back down for nothing. We don't bend our will for nothing, almost, if you know what I mean. So Mars and Mercury creates this a very strong, sharp intellect, a strong mind within Jyeshta. The new moon in Scorpio will also be joining Mars, which is currently transiting Scorpio and is in a combust state, where Mars is transiting within close proximity to the strong light of the sun. So Mars being combust and the ruler of the sign where the new moon is in also adds this intense or fiery quality to the new moon, where our emotions might be a little bit more on the surface, a little bit more on the intense side, and we might get more, what would you say, outbursts of emotion or very strong emotions during this time. I also find it interesting that the new moon will be just a couple of hours before Mercury stations retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. So because of this fact, it feels also like the new moon really calls us to take a moment, take a pause, and reflect and reevaluate what it is that we are working for. Which goals are we working for? What vision of the future is the one we're longing to manifest? What goals feels most important to us at this time? And what provides our life, let's say, with meaning? What feels most meaningful to us? So take some time this new moon perhaps and reflect on your goals, on your vision, and whether or not you wish to make some changes in your priorities at this new moon. The new moon will also receive the special aspect of Saturn. So Saturn, this planet of time and karma, also adds this level of seriousness and determination and dedication, let's say, to our goals and our vision, and to really ask us to make sure that we are spending our time wisely. Are we managing our priorities wisely? Saturn is the great taskmaster, and in a way really calls us to make sure that we are prioritizing correctly, because ultimately we don't have unlimited resources when it comes to time, when it comes to our energy and the efforts possibly we could make. So Saturn asks us to really take some time and evaluate and make a plan for the future. As usual, I will share my questions for reflection for the new moon. And the questions I wrote were: in what situations am I clinging to the illusion of control or resisting the necessary changes? Is there something I'm avoiding facing? A situation I am reluctant to look at, or a truth I am unwilling to acknowledge? What situations brings out my insecurities? What aspects of myself do I wish to conceal in shadow? Is there something I need to surrender? A desire to be right, a desire to control situations, etc., in order to gain acceptance or feel more at peace? So that was it for this update. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment or share the video with someone you think would appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Happy new moon, guys. Take care. Bye.